Welcome back to Up the Villa. If you are new, make sure you are subscribing, smash the likes, and comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Give me a like. Let's try and help this channel out a little bit while we chat about what's just happened there. But Forest 2, Villa 1. Really frustrating and quite disappointing, to be fair. Because for large parts of that, we were pretty in control. We were seeing the game out. We were ahead. We were having that sort of complete performance. And then towards the end of the game, I'm not gonna lie, there's not much to like about that because we've absolutely crumbled. And fair play to Forest, because when they had that goal disallowed for VAR, you're thinking, well, Villa, you've had a bit of a narrow, you're talking fine margins between that being on and off. You've kind of got away with it a little bit because it was a pretty good goal. The ball slipped through and, the run off Luca Dean. Like, that is your big wake-up call that there's some momentum there for Forest and they are pushing. And we sort of just wilted. And you could see that from the last goal that Forest scored, just loose and weak and tepid and just needed someone to sort of just stand up with a bit of aggression, really. So, for large parts of that, I was pretty happy with what I was seeing. I thought we were controlling the game. There was no mistakes. We were looking pretty comfortable. We'd gone 1-0 up. And then towards the end of the game, we've just literally caved in. We've absolutely caved in, and fair play to Forest, because that's what they've done to us. So, the momentum was with them and they wanted it. You could see from the header, you could see from the finish, you could see from the runners in the box that they really wanted it. And we, just not good. I just don't like to see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can accept getting beat, but from the way in which we've saw that game out there, from a pretty good performance, it's just not really good enough. And so I felt like we've started the game pretty good there. I felt like we handled Chris Wood pretty well all game as well, and we had that sort of Mings was ill in the warm-up, so Pau's come in and bit of aggression there from Pau. He's done well with the shape of the team, looked pretty good with Digne and Cash out wide. And I thought first half was pretty even. I think it was pretty, I think Forest gave us quite a lot of respect, really. I think you can see this probably from, the tactical pad of what they were trying to do to Kamara and to Tielemans in that 3. They were trying to shut him out. They were trying to shut the balls going into that central midfield area. And there wasn't really too much to talk about in the first half, but I felt like the control of us looked pretty good, and the shape was good, and I felt like we were more than in the game. But I think the main talking point from the first half was the Morgan Rogers penalty, and I'm going to be very surprised if there's anyone in this comment section that's saying that this isn't a penalty, because you can see that the contact starts outside of the penalty area. We've still got contact as we're venturing into the penalty area. As we're in the penalty area, we've got contact. And then as soon as we're in it even more, there's a clear tug from Anderson. And it's a stonewaller. It's an absolute stonewaller of a penalty. So we should have had a penalty in the first half. I don't know what VAR were doing. I can't understand how they've not looked at that and gave it. And then we see in the second half a Chris Wood tug on Pau Torres. The refs gave a free kick to Aston Villa. What is the difference? And I think within football at the minute, there seems to be this weird phase with officiating that if it's in the penalty area, there has to be more contact. It has to be a sufficient force. Whereas outside of it, if it's a foul and it gets given. So I'm a little bit annoyed at this new little bit of a ruling of how excessive the force has to be in the penalty area. I just don't get it. So we should have had a penalty, in my opinion. And then I feel like second half, we started pretty well as well. We'd got a real good cross from Digne, a Murillo clearance. We had the Duran miss and then the bicycle kick. And then we scored a really good goal through Duran. Great build-up, great play from Rodgers. Good play from Digne and McGinn. McGinn crossing to Duran, bullet header. Duran absolutely gives Murillo no chance to get anywhere near him. It's a great header. Again, it feels like one of those where he's generated a lot of power from a central position in the box. A brilliant goal, and Duran deserved his start and took his chance and took his start well and was more than worthy of that start. And I think within that game, there was not a lot of space for Duran. There wasn't a lot of stuff that it was so congested. They were quite physical with him. Both teams were pressing really well. Forest pressed really well in that game. Didn't allow us much of the ball at times in open spaces. I felt like Rodgers did have a good game. There was times when he got on, he was driving forward, and sometimes things weren't coming off for him. But he always tries, he always keeps going, and yeah, I felt like Rodgers was pretty decent, to be fair. We saw that brilliant save from Emi Martinez. Got to be save of the season. It was such a great save. Keeps Villa in the game. And you're starting to have those little warning signs, aren't you, of momentum sort of starting to shift. You always felt like Forest were going to be a threat, and they had that header. They had that goal that was, narrowly offside, but offside's offside. You can't really ever argue with offside. If he is offside, whether it's by, that much or that much, it's factual, isn't it? He's offside. So I felt like from that offside that we'd had the little warning sign of momentum and just seeing the game out and knowing that we'd got to sort of see out a little bit. You can see from the momentum bar here that just before they score that there's a heavy bit of momentum there, and we really needed to nullify it a little bit. Although I felt like we were pretty in control at times, they did obviously offer that threat that sort of it's always there, isn't it? That threat is always there, and they were building into the game and they were growing into it. And I do feel like a little bit like the changes from Villa have just not killed us a little bit, but just kind of affected our not momentum in the game, but just our structure a little bit. I think you've started the game with Tielemans and Kamara, and Kamara was fantastic in that game. And we've taken both of those players off, and yes, okay, tired legs, etc. Tielemans came off with 15 minutes to go for Onana. But then the Kamara one, just before they score, in the 91st minute, we've took Kamara off, and it's just a bit. You started that game with that structure of that midfield two of Kamara and Yuri. We've taken that off and we've brought in a new midfield with, say, 20 to go. I don't know. It just that change, them taking those two off for me hasn't helped, I don't think. And then before that sort of second goal that they've scored, we've took Kamara off, we've took Digne off, we've took Duran and Tielemans off. Structurally, you've took your two central midfielders off and your left back. And yeah, you could probably say the players that come on should step up, but I'm not doubting quality. I'm not doubting the quality of the players coming on. It's just in that game, I felt like we shouldn't have took Kamara off. And then that second goal that they've scored, Cash, not strong enough. Just not strong enough. And yeah, we've conceded, and I think fair play to Forest because they've pushed towards the end. They've wanted it. You can see from the players that are going in the box trying to get on the end of stuff. aggressive in the tackle. And yeah, we've just sort of crumbled to a bit of pressure really when we shouldn't have. And I feel like Watkins was all right when he came on. His hold up was pretty decent, but yeah, it's frustrating from a Villa point of view here now, because ideally we should have saw that game out. For me, I think we should have saw it out, shored up a bit, and yeah, I don't think Martinez could have done too much for the header that he conceded, because it's just point blank straight at him. The power on it's just took it in the back of the net. So yeah, so not good really. That from a performance where we're pretty much in control when Duran scored, to lose that game, I think personally, from a Villa point of view, it's not really good enough. If there's Forest fans watching, they're going to be, fair play, like you've won that game. But from a Villa point of view, from where we were, yeah, we've just not seen it out. And I can't believe that commentator doesn't understand that Kamara's name is Kamara and not Camera. That has just infuriated the life out of me all game. And yeah, I mean, we've lost 3 games now in a row after playing in Champions League against Liverpool, Chelsea and Forest. We've gone 3 points behind Forest now. So yeah, there's not really much else to say really, other than I think Duran shows why he should probably be starting in the team. I think that header was fantastic. I thought for pretty much an away performance up until the disallowed VAR goal from them on the 85th minute, I thought we did pretty well. But from the 85th minute onwards, we fell apart defensively. So not good enough, really. Not good enough at all. And I'm disappointed, frustrated, annoyed that we've not got something from that game. So it'll be interesting to hear what Emery's got to say. It'll be interesting to hear what you guys have got to say at home as well. So yeah, short, sharp, sweet, really. If we have a quick little look at some of the other stats from the game, I think possession was pretty much 50-50. Momentum, to in and throw in a little bit. We've had an XG of 0.44. They've had a 1.65. We have had 3 corners. They've had 4. Passing, let's have a look at the passing stats. So we've had 8 shots. They've had 17. We have had final third passes, 72% were successful, 90% for them, which is really high. We can see duels, we won 47%, now won 53%. And we can see, let's see if I can get the passing numbers. Passing, we've had 409 and they've had 425. So, yeah, really frustrating one. We were having a good week. The victory in Leipzig was fantastic, but we've not been able to see this game out, which is not good enough. Not good enough, is it really? There's not much more to say, really, other than that. So we've got Man City next. So we've got sort of a week to plan for it, to prepare for it. But yeah, Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. Up the Villa.